My name is Maya, and I'm 31 years old. I used to think marriage ended because of something big. Cheating, betrayal, money, or lies. But mine didn't. Mine collapsed in silence. No shouting, no scandal, just slow poison dripping into the cracks until everything broke. And the poison's name was Dylan. My husband Noah used to call him his brother from another mother. They'd been inseparable since college. Wild nights, broken curfews, stupid adventures they laughed about years later. Dylan was the reckless one, the life of every party. The kind of guy who could charm a bartender into giving him free shots and talk his way out of a speeding ticket with a smile. But underneath that grin, that easy, practiced grin, there was something else. Something I didn't see until it was too late. Noah and I had been married for just under 2 years. We lived in a small but bright apartment in San Diego. I worked as a project manager at a biotech company, which is a fancy way of saying I cleaned up everyone else's messes before they exploded. Noah worked in cybersecurity, protecting data by day and misplacing his own headphones by night. We weren't perfect, but we were solid, or so I thought. We had our routines, Friday sushi nights, lazy Sunday mornings with coffee in bed, and our shared rule of no deep conversations before caffeine. It was a good rhythm until Dylan showed up. It started one Wednesday evening. Noah walked in with that guilty, hopeful look husbands wear when they know you won't like what they're about to say. Babe, Dylan's going through a rough patch. His company downsized, he lost his apartment. He just needs a place to crash, 2, maybe 3 weeks tops. 2 to 3 weeks. That's how long it took to destroy everything I'd built. When Dylan arrived, he was carrying a duffel bag the size of a small refrigerator. That was my first red flag. People who plan short stays don't pack like they're emigrating. He walked in like he already knew the place, confident, familiar, eyes scanning everything, smiling that same movie trailer smile. Maya, he said, stretching my name like honey. You're even prettier than Noah described. I laughed politely, but inside something twisted in my gut. Instinct. That silent alarm that whispers, don't trust this one. The first few days, Dylan played the perfect guest. He offered to do dishes, restocked our wine, even made breakfast one morning, complete with a, thank you for letting me stay, you're a saint, speech. He said it with just enough sincerity to make me feel guilty for disliking him. But small things started to shift. It began with clutter. His sneakers camped in front of the couch, his charger plugged into my side of the bed, his hoodie hanging from a chair that wasn't his. The fridge filled up with half-eaten takeout boxes. Our living room, once cozy and calm, now looked like a bachelor pad with laundry anxiety. Then came the comments. Wow, you're really organized, Maya. No wonder Noah looks so relaxed all the time. You probably plan his bathroom breaks too. He'd laugh, Noah would laugh, and I'd just stare at my plate, pretending not to feel small. He had a way of mocking you while sounding friendly, testing boundaries in slow motion. Every night, he and Noah drank beer, shouted over video games, and told the same college stories, like teenagers trapped in adult bodies. I'd sit on the couch with my laptop, invisible in my own home. One night, Noah was in the shower, and Dylan sat across from me, bare-armed in a tank top, sipping beer. You know, he said, smirking, you and Noah make sense. You're stable. He needs that. But sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I met you first. My blood froze. I didn't respond. I just got up, grabbed my mug, and walked to the kitchen. He followed, voice lower now. Relax, it's a compliment. You take things too seriously. That was the moment I drew my invisible line. The next morning, he was whistling while cooking eggs, shirtless, like it was his house. Like I wasn't standing there gripping a coffee mug to stop myself from saying something explosive. When I told Noah I was uncomfortable, he brushed it off. Come on, babe. You know how Dylan is. He flirts with everyone. It's harmless. Harmless. That word burned, but I tried to endure it. I told myself it would only be a few more days, except those days turned into weeks. Dylan began accidentally appearing wherever I was. The hallway, the laundry room, the back porch. Always with some casual remark. Oh, didn't know you wore perfume like that. Cute pajamas. Didn't take you for a pink kind of girl. When Noah was around, Dylan acted like a model roommate, respectful, helpful, even charming. But when Noah wasn't, the energy changed. His eyes lingered, his words sharpened. His grin turned into something else, something that made my stomach twist with dread. I started locking the bedroom door at night. Then came the shower incident. That day, Noah was at a client meeting. I came home early from work, exhausted, and just wanted a hot shower. The house was quiet. Dylan's car wasn't in the driveway. I thought I was alone. I turned on the water, stepped in, and let the steam wash away the tension until I heard it. The door creaked open. Footsteps, slow, deliberate. My heart pounded in my throat. Then his voice, calm, casual, like we were discussing the weather. "Oh, didn't know you were in here. But hey, quite the view." I froze. "Get out," I said, my voice shaking. He didn't. He leaned against the doorframe, eyes roaming. "Relax, I'm kidding. You look great, by the way." Then he smiled, that same crooked, predatory grin, before finally walking out. When I stepped out of the shower, trembling, I realized something horrifying. I wasn't safe anymore. Not in my house. Not with my husband's best friend under our roof. That night, I locked every door, every window, and sat awake for hours, wondering how I'd tell Noah, or if he'd even believe me. Because the truth was, I already knew what would happen. He'd defend Dylan, he always did. And when he looked at me with that half-puzzled, half-doubtful expression, it wouldn't be the first betrayal. It would be the beginning of the end. That night after the shower incident, I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that look on Dylan's face. The way he lingered in the doorway like he was entitled to my fear. His grin wasn't just smug, it was a promise. A warning that he knew exactly what he was doing, and that he enjoyed it. By morning, I was done pretending everything was okay. When Noah walked into the kitchen, his hair still damp from his shower, I was already sitting at the table, wide awake, coffee gone cold. My voice came out steadier than I expected. "Noah," I said, "we need to talk." He froze mid-step. "What's wrong?" "I want Dylan gone. Today." He blinked, caught off guard. "Wait. What? Where did that come from?" I looked him straight in the eyes. "He came into the bathroom yesterday, while I was showering." At first, there was only silence, the kind that makes you second-guess your own heartbeat. Then Noah frowned, the way people do when they're trying to rationalize the irrational. "Hold on, what do you mean came in? Like by accident?" I slammed my hand on the table. "No, Noah, not by accident." He opened the door, looked at me, and made comments like it was a joke. "You think I'm confused about what I saw?" His expression faltered. Okay, just calm down for a second." That phrase, calm down, 2 words that can turn fury into wildfire. "I am calm," I said through gritted teeth. "I'm also telling you that man is a problem. He's been making comments for weeks. He stares. He walks around half-dressed. He pushes boundaries on purpose. I tried to ignore it because I didn't want to put you in a hard position, but this is over. He leaves today, or I do." Noah dragged his hand down his face, pacing. "Maya, he's my friend. He's going through hell right now. You know how Dylan is, he jokes too much, but he wouldn't." "He would," I snapped. "He already did." He stopped pacing. The silence stretched until it hurt. Finally, he muttered, "Okay, I'll talk to him." "Talk to him?" I scoffed. "You don't talk to men like that, Noah. You tell them to leave." But he was already walking toward the hallway, jaw tight, voice low. A moment later, I heard footsteps on the stairs. Dylan's, unhurried, confident. The rhythm of a man who knew he still had control. He entered the kitchen wearing that same smug half-smile, his tone calm, polite, just enough to sound innocent to anyone who didn't know better. "Everything okay?" Noah folded his arms. "Maya says you walked in on her while she was in the shower." Dylan's eyebrows rose in theatrical surprise. Then a laugh, light, dismissive, rehearsed. "What? Are you serious right now?" He turned toward me, still smiling. "You think I did that on purpose?" I said nothing. I didn't need to. He looked back at Noah. "Come on, man. The door wasn't locked. I didn't know she was in there. I walked in, realized, and got out. It was maybe 2 seconds. I even said sorry." Lies coated in sugar. Noah rubbed the back of his neck. I just need to make sure there's no misunderstanding. There's no misunderstanding, I interrupted. He looked at me, watched me. And it wasn't the first time he's crossed the line. Dylan's smile dropped, but his eyes hardened, flashing something dark before softening again for Noah's benefit. You know what this is? He said with a small chuckle. She's never liked me. That's fine. Not everyone does. But accusing me of something like that? That's low, Maya. Real low. I stood up slowly, every nerve on fire. You're not flipping this on me. He turned back to Noah, shaking his head like a disappointed parent. Man, I think she just wants me gone. Maybe she's uncomfortable with how close we've been. Or maybe she's just tired of having a guest. I get it. I can leave. I don't want to be in the middle of your marriage. He said the word marriage like it was a weapon. Noah looked torn in two. Dylan. I stepped forward. Don't you dare defend him. Noah hesitated, eyes darting between us like he was trying to find the truth somewhere in the space between our words. That pause, that tiny fatal hesitation, hurt worse than anything Dylan had said. It was the moment I realized my husband didn't fully believe me. Finally, Noah said quietly, Maybe it's best if you go, Dylan, at least for now. Dylan sighed dramatically, like a man taking the high road. Fine, if that's what you want. Then he turned to me with that same venomous smile. You're making a big mistake, Maya. You'll realize it soon enough. He went upstairs. The sound of his duffel bag unzipping, drawers slamming, and muttered curses filled the air. He wanted us to hear it, his performance of wounded innocence. 20 minutes later, he came down with his giant bag, slung dramatically over his shoulder. He stood at the door, glanced back, and said to Noah, Take care of her, man. She's intense. Then he left. The door slammed so hard the frame shuddered. For a long time, we just stood there in silence. I stared at the door. Noah stared at the floor. The refrigerator hummed. The clock ticked. Everything felt heavy, suffocating. Finally, Noah muttered, Can you tell me everything from the beginning? So I did. Every word. The looks, the comments, the half-jokes about my schedule, the suggestive remarks, the way he'd hover around when Noah wasn't home, the towel incident, the shower. When I finished, Noah sat down rubbing his temples. I don't know what to say. How about, I'm sorry you went through that, I said bitterly. He looked up, eyes weary. I am sorry, okay? But Dylan, he's always been reckless, not malicious. I don't think he meant to. Stop, my voice cracked. You're still giving him the benefit of the doubt, after everything I just told you? Noah sighed. I just want to make sure I understand both sides. Both sides. That phrase cut deeper than anything else. I stood. Then you can live with both sides, because I'm done. I went to the bedroom, packed a small suitcase, and walked out without another word. I checked into a quiet hotel by the beach. For the first time in weeks, I slept through the night. No locks, no footsteps, no eyes watching me from the hallway. The next morning, I woke up to 2 messages on my phone. The first was from Noah. We need to talk. Dylan told me you've been acting distant even before you moved in. I think something's being twisted here. Can we meet tonight? The second was from Dylan. No hard feelings. I know things got weird. Maybe we should talk privately, clear the air. You and me, just us, for closure. My stomach turned. He wasn't done. He wanted to pull me back in, keep control. I deleted his message immediately. But Noah's, that one I couldn't ignore. So that evening, I met him at a small cafe near the harbor. He looked tired, nervous. The first thing he said was, Dylan called me. He sounded wrecked, Maya. He swears it was an accident. He said you've been cold to him since day one, and he thinks you made it sound worse than it was. I almost laughed. An ugly, bitter laugh. Of course he did. That's what manipulators do, Noah. They twist the story until they sound like the victim. He stared at me, conflicted. I just want to know the truth. You already do, I whispered. You just don't want to face it. He didn't answer. He just looked down, guilt flickering across his face like stormlight. When I stood to leave, he reached out. Please don't walk away. I already did, I said softly. As I walked out of the cafe into the cool night air, I realized something sharp and painful. Noah might love me, but he didn't believe me. And love without belief isn't love at all. I thought that was the end of it. I thought walking away would be the worst pain I'd have to feel. But I was wrong. Because 3 days later, Dylan's real revenge began. And by the time Noah finally realized the truth, it was already too late. 3 days after I left, the messages started. They didn't come from Noah, not at first. They came from mutual friends, coworkers, even my mother. Each one carried the same uneasy tone. "Hey, I heard what happened between you and Noah. Are you okay?" The first few I brushed off. Then I got a call from my colleague Tara. "Maya," she whispered, "I probably shouldn't say this, but people are talking. Dylan's been telling everyone you made things up, that you tried to hit on him, and when he rejected you, you turned it around on him." I froze. My throat went dry. "He's saying what?" "Yeah. He's telling everyone you had a breakdown, that you're unstable, that Noah had to ask you to take a few days off work to calm down." I hung up before she could finish. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely breathe. I opened social media. There it was, little breadcrumbs of humiliation scattered through mutual connections, posts about false accusations and crazy wives. Nothing directly naming me, but the insinuations were obvious. Comments from people who didn't even know me. Poor Dylan. People always try to ruin good men. It hit me then. This wasn't random. This was his revenge. Dylan had found a way to twist the story before I even knew the battle had started, and he was using Noah to do it. I called Noah that night. He didn't answer. The next morning, I tried again. This time, he picked up. His voice sounded cold, distant, like a stranger's. "Maya, I don't think we should talk right now." "Excuse me?" He sighed. "Look, Dylan told me everything. He said you've been struggling, that you took things the wrong way. I don't know what to believe anymore." My jaw tightened. "You don't know what to believe?" "Noah, I told you what happened. To my face. You looked me in the eyes." "I know," he said softly. "But the things he's saying, it's not like him. I've known him for 15 years. I laughed bitterly. "And you've been married to me for 2, so I guess that doesn't count for much." He didn't respond. I hung up. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. That night, I sat in my hotel room staring at the city lights outside my window, feeling the world close in around me. Dylan had done it. He'd turned my husband against me, poisoned every connection I had left. I thought about going to HR, maybe even the police, but what could I prove? He hadn't touched me. He hadn't threatened me. He'd just built a narrative, one that made me look unhinged, emotional, unreliable. And the worst part, people believed him. But the thing about me is this: I don't break. I calculate. If Dylan wanted a war, I'd give him one. The first step was silence. I didn't post, didn't respond, didn't argue, let him talk, let him bury himself in his own arrogance. The louder a liar speaks, the more cracks appear in their story. I just had to wait. Meanwhile, I gathered screenshots, messages, witness accounts. I reached out to a few people who'd seen Dylan's behavior at the house. One of Noah's coworkers had stopped by once and mentioned how friendly Dylan had been with me. She'd noticed the way he hovered. I saved that message. I compiled every detail I could remember: dates, times, what he wore, what he said. And then, one afternoon, I went back home. Noah looked startled when he opened the door. His eyes had dark circles like he hadn't slept in days. "Maya, why are you here?" "I came to pick up my things," I said evenly. He hesitated, then stepped aside. "He's gone. Dylan's staying with a buddy across town." "Good," I said. "Keep him gone." The house felt different, colder. The laughter that used to echo through the walls now felt like ghosts haunting an empty shell. As I walked down the hallway, I noticed something odd. Noah's laptop sat open on the counter. Dylan's email tab was still logged in. Maybe it was instinct, or maybe it was fate. Either way, I looked, and what I found made my blood run cold. Dozens of messages, drafts, half-written lies, screenshots of my texts to Noah, taken out of context and sent to others with captions like, "See what I mean? She's obsessed." Emails to Noah, pretending to be mutual friends, confirming that I'd been inappropriate. Even fake text threads he'd built, using an app, to make it look like I'd been flirting with him. He'd been planning this for weeks. When Noah walked back into the kitchen, I turned the screen toward him. "Read this." He froze, his face drained of color. "What? Where did you get that?" "Your friend left a trail of digital garbage. And you, the cybersecurity expert, didn't notice." He sat down slowly, eyes scanning the messages, his breathing quickening with every line. "Oh my God." I crossed my arms. "Still think he's harmless?" "No," he whispered. Maya, I'm so sorry. I should have believed you." It was the first time I'd heard those words. Too late, but still. For a moment, I almost pitied him, sitting there realizing the man he'd defended had been dismantling his marriage for sport. But then I remembered the nights I'd spent locking doors, shaking in the dark, wondering if I was going crazy. So I didn't comfort him. Instead, I took screenshots of everything, forwarded them to myself, and left. 2 days later, Dylan's entire web collapsed. Noah confronted him, and according to one of their mutual friends, it wasn't quiet. Dylan tried to deny it at first, then laugh it off, then play the victim. But once Noah showed him the evidence, something in him snapped. He threw a glass against the wall, shouted that I'd ruined his life, that she deserved it. That was all Noah needed to hear. He called me that night, his voice shaking. "He's gone, Maya. I made sure he's never coming near us again." "Us?" I asked quietly. He hesitated. "I want to fix this, please. I'll do anything." For a long time, I said nothing. Then, "You can't fix what you didn't protect." And I hung up. But I wasn't finished. See, people like Dylan don't just stop. They hide. They wait. I wanted to make sure he could never do this to another woman again. So I took what I'd gathered, the fake messages, the screenshots, the emails, and sent them anonymously to his new employer. I didn't even need to attach an explanation. The truth spoke for itself. Within a week, Dylan lost his job. A month later, his reputation was in shambles. Mutual friends cut him off. His social accounts vanished. And one night, I received a final message from an unknown number. "You think you've won, but you'll always be that bitter little woman who can't move on." I smiled, because by then I'd bought a new apartment overlooking the ocean. The waves outside my window sounded like peace, steady, unbroken, honest. Noah emailed me once more, months later. He said he still thought about me, that he'd never forgive himself for doubting me. I never replied, because some betrayals don't deserve closure, they deserve distance. And as for Dylan, he became exactly what he always was beneath the charm and laughter. A ghost. A man whose lies finally swallowed him whole. Dylan vanished from our lives like a stain scrubbed out of existence, but I knew better. Men like him don't disappear, they regroup. They wait for the next opening, the next victim. For a while, things were quiet. Too quiet. Noah tried to reach out again and again. Calls, emails, even a letter left at my office front desk. The first line read, "You were right, about everything." I didn't respond. I couldn't. Because every time I thought of him, I saw not the man I married, but the man who hesitated. The man who looked at me with doubt instead of trust. It's strange how love can decay faster than hate. 2 weeks later, one of Noah's co-workers, a woman named Erin, contacted me privately. She said she'd overheard Dylan talking to someone in a bar a few nights before his blow-up. He'd been bragging, saying things like, "You just have to make them doubt themselves. Once her husband questions her, you've already won." He called it the long game. That phrase haunted me, because that's what it had been all along. A long game. Psychological chess played by someone who never intended to win fairly. It wasn't just harassment, it was strategy. Dylan knew Noah's blind spots, his soft heart, his nostalgia. He'd used their friendship as a weapon and me as the battlefield. And that was when I realized I couldn't just destroy Dylan's lies. I had to destroy his illusion of power. The setup. I started small, quiet, deliberate. I knew where Dylan was working now. It wasn't hard to find. People like him always resurface online, trying to look successful again. He'd joined a new software firm in LA, posting photos with that fake motivational energy, new beginnings, grind never stops. But beneath every caption, I saw the same man, same ego, same hunger for attention. So I began to plant seeds. From an anonymous account, I shared the screenshots, the fake text messages, the doctored images, the evidence of him framing me, with a single caption. If you ever wondered what manipulation looks like behind closed doors, read carefully. Then I sent the same package to the HR department of his new company. It didn't take long. Within a week, the post gained traction. Comments poured in, women sharing eerily similar stories. Different faces, same pattern. Charm, boundary pushing, gaslighting, then destruction. He had done this before. One woman messaged me privately. Her name was Lucy, and she'd dated Dylan briefly 3 years earlier. She told me he'd nearly ruined her life too, spreading rumors after she broke up with him, calling her unstable. He's good, she wrote. He makes people doubt their own reality. I wish I'd fought back like you did. I didn't tell her the truth, that I wasn't sure I'd won yet. Noah's breaking point. About a month later, Noah showed up at my apartment building unannounced. I found him standing by the elevator, holding a bouquet of wilted daisies and a manila folder. "Maya, please," he said as I approached. "Just hear me out." Against my better judgment, I did. We sat in the lobby, quiet for a moment before he spoke. "You were right. About everything. I confronted him again after you left. He didn't even try to deny it this time." He slid the folder toward me. Inside were printed screenshots, emails, messages, everything I'd already seen on his laptop and more. But this time, there were voice recordings too. One clip played Dylan's voice, slurred, bitter, bragging in a bar. "I told her husband she came on to me. You should have seen his face, and the poor guy didn't know what to think. She'll spend years trying to fix that look in his eyes." Noah rubbed his forehead. He laughed when he said that. I wanted to hit him. I didn't say anything. The pain in his voice wasn't enough to undo what he'd done. "I lost you," he whispered. "And it's my fault. I believed him over you. I let him into our home. I let him destroy us." I looked at him, really looked, and for a second I saw the man I used to love. The man who used to kiss my forehead every morning before work. The man who once promised, "You'll always be safe with me." But that man had hesitated. And hesitation, I've learned, is just another form of betrayal. "You can't fix this, Noah," I said softly. "You can't unsee what you doubted." Tears welled in his eyes. "I know, but I'll spend the rest of my life making sure no one else believes his lies." And that's exactly what he did. The fall. It started quietly, a ripple spreading across the industry. HR investigations, old friends pulling away. People whispering Dylan's name like it was a warning. Then came the public unraveling. One day, his company's official statement appeared online. "We are aware of allegations regarding a member of our team and have terminated his employment pending further investigation." No details, no names. But everyone knew. Dylan's social media disappeared overnight. His LinkedIn gone. His Instagram wiped clean. His face, that charming, confident, too-perfect smile, vanished from the digital world like smoke. For weeks, there was silence. Then, out of nowhere, I got one final email from him. No subject line, just 2 sentences. "You think you won, but you'll never have peace. You're broken now." And I did that. I stared at the words for a long time, then hit delete. Because here's the truth Dylan never understood. Revenge isn't about rage. It's about control. And I had finally taken mine back. The reckoning months passed. The world moved on, but the scars remained. Faint, invisible, but real. One afternoon, I ran into Noah again. He looked older, quieter, as if carrying a lifetime of regret in his eyes. "I'm seeing a therapist," he said with a sad smile. "Trying to understand why I let him get between us, why I needed proof before believing you." I nodded. "Good." He hesitated. "I still love you." "I know," I said. "But love without trust is just nostalgia." He nodded slowly, tears welling up again, then turned and walked away. And for the first time, I didn't feel angry. I just felt free. And the final twist. 6 months later, I got a message from Lucy, the woman who told me her story. She sent a screenshot. It was from a small local news site in LA headline. Former software engineer arrested for online harassment and stalking multiple women. Below the headline was a mugshot. Dylan. Apparently, after losing everything, he'd spiraled, creating fake accounts to torment women he'd known, sending threats, hacking into personal emails. One of them had gone to the police. They'd traced everything back to him. I stared at the photo for a long time. He didn't look charming anymore, just hollow. I should have felt satisfaction, triumph. But what I felt instead was something quieter, relief. Because the truth had finally done what revenge couldn't. It ended him. Epilogue. A year later, I stood on a balcony overlooking the Pacific, watching the tide roll in. The sun dipped low, casting gold over the waves. I was different now. Not bitter, not broken, but sharper, stronger. People say revenge changes you. They're right, but not always in the way they think. For me, it wasn't about destroying someone else. It was about reclaiming the parts of myself I'd given away, piece by piece, to people who didn't deserve them. Noah reached out once more, months after Dylan's arrest. Just a short message. He's finally facing what he did. I thought you'd want to know. I typed back one sentence before deleting it. I already knew. Because I'd stopped waiting for justice the day I realized I was my own. As the waves crashed below, I whispered to the wind. For every woman who's been gaslighted, doubted, or silenced, may your truth be louder than their lies. And I meant it. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying the person who hurt you. It's becoming someone they can never hurt again.